Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Box, again with Dr. Ronald G. Taylor, sponsored by Novodia. And also want to just really say thank you for all the support and feedback that you've given us around these conversations. We try to keep them as authentic as possible. I'm a retired superintendent with about 30 years of public education experience that includes being a teacher, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and also superintendent. And for those who are interested in reading some great stories about careers that are interesting and about the fight for instructional and educational integrity and equity, you can also feel free to look for my book. It's The Courage to Lead with Integrity for Equity, an authentic educational equity journey that's available everywhere. There's also, of course, a link on my LinkedIn. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Box. We are so fortunate and excited to have Brooke Martin with us today. Brooke Martin serves as the Executive Director of Center and Technical Education, CTE, at Aldine Independent School District in Houston, Texas. In this role, she oversees approximately 20,000 students who are across more than 45 CTE programs. She manages 117 dual credit courses and coordinates 46 industry-based certifications. Her responsibilities include program development, instructional design, partnerships with industry leaders and higher education institutions, and ensures that there's equitable access to career pathways for all students. Martin is also leading the expansion of the HEAL Health Education and Learning Program, a $32 million Bloomberg philanthropic funded initiative. Now, how does Brooke connect to our podcast theme of Beyond the Box? Well, her work really does connect because of some of the tensions that we all had some history leading CTE programs when you're trying to examine curriculum, the curriculum coherence, and the tension between standardized box programs to customize instructional approaches. Martin leads and manages at a massive scale with, again, more than 20,000 CTE students that some of the folks around the country might not even be aware of that a program could be of such size. So we're so lucky to have Brooke with us today, and welcome, Brooke, to Beyond the Box.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
The first question that I would love to hear from you about is about scaling coherence across programs. And so when you first stepped into CTE, what gaps or inconsistencies did you observe amongst, over 45 programs that were sequenced and communicated across campuses?
Yeah. So, there's a lot there because CTE in general is a beast. There is so much that goes into it. It's not a standardized textbook. Here's your entire file, thumb drive, what we used to get back in the day of here's all your lesson plans. Um, it's not a canned product. And what works one day, it probably won't work tomorrow. But one of the things that we've just really, really tried to do is make sure that we're doing our best to serve our students. And with keeping that in mind, we know that we're always making good decisions. One of the biggest gaps that you tend to see in the CTE world is you have the standard K through 12 model where we have in Texas, we have the TEKS, and it's the curriculum alignment that we have to make sure we meet these standards within a course. And that doesn't always necessarily align with industry. In CTE, we do a major focus on preparing our students for the next step beyond high school, and that's their careers, their dream jobs. And so there's a big gap in between there. There's industry credentials. It's not just learning, there's equipment, there's application. Just because you pass this test doesn't mean you can actually do these things. So there's a lot of real world hands-on experiences required. And even in the last 10 years, we've expanded our program offerings to where, we used to have a state standard teacher certification for trades and industry. Well, now we have them so specialized as in like HVAC, pipe fitting. It gets very, very unique and diversified. And so you really, in order to do our kids a true service, you have to partner with direct industries to support kiddos in that space. And so taking it from those standard knowledge skills that we've got to be able to teach to a wide, large industry, that's a huge gap for us. And so that's one of the biggest, like you said, gaps. It's also probably something that I truly enjoy because it is a jigsaw puzzle that is constantly moving. And connecting with our industry it truly helps make the curriculum just stick for our students.
I love that answer. I was just telling someone during an executive coaching session about CTE when I was an assistant superintendent in Newark schools. And there was a decision. We had two huge CTE programs that were school based and were in buildings on opposite sides of the city. And a decision was made because of budget to consolidate those schools, huge kilns, just all the parts of CTE that make it beautiful. But trying to combine those spaces and deciding which program would keep what and the master scheduling that's a part of that and which kids would stay in it. It was just such a bear. So I always have a soft spot in my heart for folks who are CTE leaders. I also helped bring back CTE programs to a district where I was superintendent because there was such a pain that the community had because they had to cut the CTE programming a decade prior because of budgeting. They really thought that it left an empty space for kids who had that interest, and bringing in those professionals who agreed to give their time, right, to be on committees to make sure that we did it the right way. And then to go through all those pieces and see kids go win awards for their work and really go into a profession that they loved. Oh my gosh, so rewarding. So kudos to you. And thinking about vendors. Tell us a little bit about the vendor solution like ICEV that you've adopted. What problem did it solve, and what did it cost in time and money and teacher buy-in and adoption and all those types of things?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I can tell you about ICEV is that they are a long-term, they've been in the CTE world forever. So they have a real good grasp on how to support the CTE classroom, knowing that we're not just the standard. Here's the textbook, page 72. Make sure you read it and answer these questions. They truly understand the supports that are needed. And again, filling that gap, but also meeting the diverse needs of our learners. One of our newer approaches that we've done here recently, and I'm really excited about it, is that we partnered with our special ed department. And we have a campus called our Lane School, and students can be there for differing times, but we still want to make sure they get a CTE experience. And so, you may have a small amount of kids, you may have a larger amount of kids. And so you can't necessarily always plan to have a very diversified CTE education population there. So by incorporating the ICEV curriculum there, we've opened the world to where kids have access to all of the industries. And that's been really huge because then they're still getting that exposure, even though they're not at their comprehensive high school. And that's key because we never want our students to have that gap and lost opportunities of learning and applying the skills and seeing it in videos and projects and really meeting the different learners that we support.
That is so exciting. Being able to find good partners can really be priceless in this work that we do. And I spoke a little bit about, unfortunately, programs that I lost as a leader and worked to get back, especially in the CTE realm. And so when I was reading about the philanthropic partnership that you have with Bloomberg and the Memorial Hermann piece, can you tell us a little bit about that? That just sounds so exciting.
Well, I mean, there's so many aspects to this project. Truly, it is a labor of love. It is a passion project. It you go into programs, and what's unique about this is it's a health science high school. We have 5 pathways: nursing, medical imaging, healthcare business admin, pharmacy, physical and occupational therapy. And so, you get those common, if you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? You typically get doctor, police, fireman, the common ones that you see, right? But what I think is such a great benefit to this is that you're not only getting exposed to the healthcare world, but you're seeing like all the arteries of the healthcare world. And so if you go into nursing and let's just say you get into year 1 and you're excited. This has been my dream job. This is what I'm going to do. But when push comes to shove, you see that first little dot of blood and it's game over, right? But that's not the case here. we have the opportunity to expose you to other career fields while still maintaining that health science love. And that's so beneficial for our students, because when you talk about curriculum and even program designs, you want to make sure you get specific enough to support the industry, but not too specific where you're keeping kids out, because that one directional track may not be their specialty or their niche. But also, you don't want to get too wide broad, because then you don't get to meet the industry opportunities. But we're very, very fortunate. Our partner, Memorial Hermann, they are like a family to us. My kids actually think for a little bit there for a while when we first started that I actually became a Memorial Hermann employee, because we were going to all of the events together. And it's truly, we are walking this road together. And that's what makes this such a strong program. Our kids are engulfed in the hospitals day one, and they get to see all of the aspects of a hospital. And then they're surrounded by the Memorial Hermann team. They've got mentors. They do a summer infusion program with the hospital system. So we go to several of their system locations. And so they're getting to see all the different aspects. And that's key, because again, it's showing our kiddos that there's more than just one directional pathway in that industry.
I love, talking about how they're like a family, to your district and to your program. That's, just super heartwarming. And so if other districts, trust me, when folks hear about this, they're going to why can't we do that in our district, right? When they hear about that, and not just the $32 million support that you're getting, um, what's the other internal labor, and the amount of time it takes to get to the point where you have a successful approach similar to what you have with HEAL?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the 32 million is great. It is phenomenal. It definitely helps. But when people hear that, they're like, "Oh, well, we can't do that. We don't have $32 million lying around." Well, my message to people is 27 of that is construction. So you can do it. It is manageable. You just kind of have to do it like, how would you eat an elephant? You take one bite at a time. So you small scale it. But the first, internally from our aspect, it's, okay, we've got this project now. How do we do it? We created several committees and had to leave task force, like the hospital-based learning. It couldn't just be all me and my team. It couldn't just be us. It had to be a lot of other people involved. And this model is not just in the CTE world. We're also cross-curricular designing in our core content classes, so that when you're in your math class, you're using the actual metrics that we use and see in the hospitals. So it really becomes an entire district hands-on approach. We have to completely rethink how we're doing curriculum. It's not just, again, meeting those standard TEKS. We're trying to align to industry certifications and entry-level jobs at Memorial Hermann. And we're trying to align with post-secondary partners to make sure our students are getting as far in that degree plan as possible, so that they can quickly enter that workforce. So there's a lot of different moving pieces to it. It keeps me up a lot at night, a lot of late nights thinking and just constantly processing. I keep a little Post-it next to the bed because I know I'm going to come up with something and not remember it the next morning. So, it's truly a great opportunity. It is a lot of work, but you can do it when you have a reason and a why. And we know that our community needs it. We know our students deserve it.
Man, I love that. It's not just a job for any of us, right? There's it's so much more. And then even, of course, being a mom who had kids who were involved in some of these programs, I'm sure that really even stokes the fires even more. So kudos. So we always end our sessions with the question around instructional equity. When I retired from the superintendency, I wrote a book around the courage to lead with integrity for equity. And it's a thread of instructional equity I saw throughout my career. And so I was excited to learn more about how your CTE is impacted with multilanguage learners, and how you have to, manage that, to make sure that the students are receiving an equitable approach. What could you share with us about that?
Yeah, well, our multilingual department, we partner with them a lot because we know that their students are our students, and it's not a siloed work. And we work better together in teams than we do individually. And so we brought them in to support us at our district staff developments. We have new teachers that we hire on directly from industry. In the state of Texas, we call that District of Innovation. And we do training with them individually, one-on-one, and we bring in our special departments. So special multilingual comes in and works with our teachers to help them understand how do we best support our diverse learners and meeting them where they are. Because we can't grow them and get them where we want them to be until we understand how they can get there. And that's crucial.
That's one that for those who are watching, we can underline from today's visit. It's not a siloed work, right? Their kids are our kids. We love that. And yeah, love that. And um, for those who are interested, just like the rest of the time that we've had chance to interview these fantastic folks, when you follow our posting, you'll be able to see connection for Brooke in case you'd like to reach out and just tell her how fantastic she is. And we're really we're really thankful for you taking a few minutes to share with us. And we always believe in lifting as we climb. So thank you for the folks at home or at work or wherever you are. It took a moment to learn more about this wonderful and successful CTE program. I'm sure that many parents and teachers and superintendents who watch this are going to want to know more about how they can build their CTE program, real life learning that helps kids get to where they want to be successful in life. So thank you again, Brooke Martin, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Thank you. And tune in again for Beyond the Box.